That wind chill 7 below, and the temperature will be dropping throughout the day. Very little sun on the field. It's an artificial surface. The Vikings had heating elements put in, so it heats the field to up to 50 degrees. The 12th game of the season for the Vikings and Panthers is underway, and it's Fozzie Whitaker on the return for the Panthers, weaving his way up to the 20-yard line. The Vikings won the toss. They deferred, so they'll want the ball to start the second half. And here comes Cam Newton, 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's only had 2 career 100-yard rushing games, Ronnie, and one of them came earlier this year in that tie with Cincinnati.
That Cincinnati game is one to reference back to if you're trying to judge what the Carolina Panthers will do today. Same defense, obviously. Mike Zimmer came from there, used the same defense there as he does here, so we'll see if that materializes itself today.
D'Angelo Williams starts in the backfield. Handoff, Williams, Carolina's all-time leading rusher. And in the backfield, you mentioned the return of Mike Tolbert. Again, it's Greg Olsen who leads the team in catches, the tight end having a Pro Bowl season, and the rookie receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, with 8 touchdowns.
He has some weapons, certainly, on the outside with Kelvin Benjamin and Greg Olsen. But like I said in that open, I think Mike Tolbert will be the key to this running game. He's been out for a number of weeks. He's a good player. So will the offensive line, the 7th different starting offensive line unit for the Panthers this year. D'Angelo Williams with nowhere to go. That Viking defense, and the strength of it is up front. Everson Griffin with 9 sacks leading the way. Everson Griffin is having a great season, second in the NFC in sacks. His counterpart on the other side, Brian Robinson, will get a good test today against a young tackle. But Anthony Barr, the rookie linebacker, has been a stud all year. May or may not be hitting that rookie wall a little bit, Chris. We'll see as this game goes on. And Captain Munnerlyn, 5 years for the Panthers, one of the stars of the Vikings secondary, on 3rd down and 8. Munnerlyn lining up against Benjamin. Cam Newton looking around, and he's going to go down. Sharif Floyd with his 4th+ sack of the season. Sharif Floyd missed the game last week. He's right in here fighting through a double team, and just Cam holds on to the ball, can't get rid of it. He had Greg Olsen sitting right there in the flat if he wanted to get rid of it. But Sharif Floyd, that defensive line has been tough all year. Sluggish start for the Carolina offense. Now, Brad Nordman, who played college ball in Wisconsin, said, I was talking to him before the game, said, I've never played in weather as cold as this. The ball freezes. It's like hitting a rock, and you got to try to find that sweet spot. And you have to realize it's just not going to carry as far. And that one doesn't, as it bounces on the Carolina side of the field and goes out of bounds to give the Vikings great starting field position. The wind, the weather will be a factor all day in kicking game today, Chris. And for Teddy Bridgewater, we talked about the gloves. He wore those anyway on both hands, changes them at the half, just part of what he does, making his 8th start as a pro. He's 2-2 at home. You know what? This weather might not affect him as much as it will a guy like Cam. He's used to it. He knows the gloves help him. We'll see how he's able to spin the ball today with those on if the weather affects it at all. After a 28-yard punt from the 45-yard line of the Panthers, Bridgewater on the move. He will slide at the 40. Played his college football, of course, at Louisville. But this is a big chill for a number of players, no matter where they're from or where they went to school. Star Latulippe out with an injured ankle, I should say. Charles Johnson, who had some flu problems during the week and missed practice, hoping to play for that defense. Meanwhile, the Vikings have Mike Harris starting at right tackle. They've had to shuffle their offensive line. Matt Nasiata carries, brought down right at the 40 by Luke Kuechly. Well, if you don't block him, he's probably going to make the tackle. You know, this defensive line hasn't been the same as it was last year. They're seeing a lot different blocking schemes, so the linebackers aren't as free, but Luke Kuechly is still all over the field. Thomas Davis provides great leadership on this young defensive unit, and they're going to need both of those guys to have big days today. And rookie Benet Ben-Wickery, last played October 5th, starting at left corner, obviously used in the nickel situation. Panthers hoping for big play out of that spot.
We're good. Hey, middle floor now.
On 3rd and 5. Bridgewater completes for the first down and knocked down right away with the veteran Greg Jennings, who leads this Viking team in all receiving categories this year.
Yeah, this guy's not adverse to cold weather. He played in Green Bay all those years. He's probably as comfortable as anybody on the field right there. It's been a great addition to this team this year, helping the young quarterback. I think he's given him some knowledge. It's really helped in his development. If he can have a big game, so will this Vikings offense.
Bridgewater to throw and completes inside the 30. It's Charles Johnson inside the 10 of Carolina. He has emerged as the star receiver. Free agent signee who was with Cleveland, drafted in the 7th round by Green Bay.
Very simple pass here. Matt Khalil gets out and gives a block on the corner, frees up some space for Charles Johnson. He has that explosive ability, a 4-3 guy coming out. His offense has lacked some of that this year, and this guy, there's a reason he's playing a lot more now, is because he has that ability.
A gain of 24, spotted at the 9 of the Panthers. Matt Asiata goes straight ahead. He's down inside the 5. All of Matt Asiata's touchdowns this year, Rondé, all 6 have come at home. And remember, he missed last week coming off a concussion versus the Bears.
Matt Asiata has been that guy all year that hasn't been the workhorse. But when you get him in the red zone, and we know this team likes to run the ball in the red zone, he's been the benefactor of a lot of scores down here.
Bridgewater rolls. Got wide open in the end zone. It's a touchdown, Vikings. Kyle Rudolph.
Well, that short punt offered a short field for Minnesota to get down the field. I love how North Turner called a bunch of quick hitting pass plays for his young quarterback. See the tight end at the top of your screen, that drag route. Carolina is completely confused and leaves them wide open. It's an easy toss for the first touchdown of the game.
Blair Walsh on for the extra point. First touch by the Minnesota offense. Kyle Rudolph, his 2nd touchdown of this season, injured much of the year. And for Teddy Bridgewater, his 7th touchdown as a pro. That'll warm up this building.
This game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
That's how cold it is here. And playing at the University of Minnesota, the Golden Gopher Stadium, until their new building, their new stadium, the Vikings, after next season.
Can we get that open by the second half?
This is great football weather. You never played in weather this cold, but that's what these teams are doing. A short kick and up to the 25. The Panthers, Brian Folkerts with the return. Cam Newton, the offense, a dud to start this game, and in a 7-0 hole after Teddy Bridgewater. He might be bridge ice by the time this game's over.
Today's game is sponsored by Stella Artois. She is a thing of beauty.
And with the open end of this stadium, the wind could come into play. We already saw the punt going in that direction stalled as the Panthers have the ball for the 2nd time after a 3-and-out. They run a little reverse, and that's Philly Brown, who's in there for speed purposes. The backup to Jericho Cotchery and Kelvin Benjamin on the other side. They let Jason Avant go, and DeAndre Presley from Appalachian State is active today as well.
I think both of those guys that you just mentioned, Philly Brown, DeAndre Presley, give this offense the ability to take the top off the defense, can really stretch them down the field. It really necessitated the release of a Jason Avant, because he just doesn't have the type of capabilities these young guys do.
Cam Newton, his first throw of the game, and the coverage was very good on Cotchery. It'll bring up 3rd and 6. Xavier Rhodes, who was a teammate of Benjamin at Florida State, is having a very good season for Minnesota.
We were speculating before the game whether or not Kelvin Benjamin would be matched with Xavier Rhodes most of the day, but this Vikings defense doesn't do that. They kind of just let receivers come as they are, and I love the way Xavier Rhodes has been playing of late. He's had a bunch of penalties early in this season, but I think he could be a really good cornerback. It's nice to see him develop.
Tolbert checks out. Philly Brown checks in. There's Benjamin. In the slot is Greg Olsen on 3rd and 6. Cam Newton is on the move. If he gets a block, he can get a first down, and he does. Sliding up near the 38-yard line. Jonathan Stewart helping to throw that block. And has physically beat up, and his year started that way, his offseason. He said there's nothing physically with the wear and tear that's keeping me from doing what I need to do.
Well, there's definitely some injury issues with Cam still. He won't talk about him. He's not willing to make that the excuse for the way that he's played of late. And I respect that about him, but there's no doubt that he is still hurting a little bit. The ankle, the ribs, the wrist that he had earlier in this year. But he's going to fight through it, and he's going to need to play well if this team's going to make that 5-game run that you mentioned earlier.
After a gain of 10, Cam Newton to Benjamin. He's up to the 42-yard line. The Panthers, the first quarter is their weakest scoring quarter. That has been the case throughout the year. And the offense, the running game, just hasn't been consistent. In fact, this is probably the healthiest the running back position has been for Ron Rivera. At least that's what he told us last night all year.
Well, they came into the season as the 4 horsemen: Tolbert, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and of course Cam Newton as all runners. And this is one of the few games all year that they've had all 4 of those elements. And I'll be interested today to see if they use it like they have in the past.
Jonathan Stewart in the backfield with Cam Newton. Sets to throw and has time. Threw it a little bit behind and incomplete. That's the first attempt to get it to Olsen.
Cam had his eyes down the field, but his open receiver was right in front of him. He just delivered this ball a little bit too late. This would have been an easy completion for him.
And he doesn't wear the gloves, but he said, I keep my hands. It's important to keep my hands warm, and that's when he's got those little heat packets. He said he likes actually when there's sweat on his hands. It helps him grip the cold football.
Well, we all know that when it gets cold, if you play football at all, that leather gets hard and gets bloated. It's hard to manage, but he's got big hands. I think he'll be able to handle it today, Chris.
Play clock running down. You see that in red on 3rd and 5. And he's going to need a timeout. Panthers just weren't ready. Vikings score their first possession. This is the second possession for the Panthers.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Your Next Truck, Ford F-150. By Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza where it's never been before. And by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Sideline crews for each team where they review the video on their tablets or photos, trying to stay warm. They put up a tent with the cold weather and wind chill. And fans who, going back to the old Bud Grant days, Bloomington, I'm sure they saved their gear. Those years in the Metrodome and now here. Sub-zero temperatures and fading on 3rd and 5. Hit as he released the ball for Cotchery, and it's 4th down. And Cam Newton laid out. Sharif Floyd, who was involved and had a sack on the opening drive, got to him.
This is the double A-gap looks that Mike Zimmer loves to use. You see the 2 linebackers in there, and sometimes they drop out. On this play, they run a little wrap route and comes clean on Cam Newton. He's forced to make a bad throw, and Vikings get off on 3rd down.
Better punting position for Brad Nortman, who had the 28-yard punt into the win last time that aided the Viking touchdown drive. Pressure coming, and it's blocked right at the 30-yard line. The block by Adam Thielen, and in for the touchdown, Vikings.
Well, the Vikings were trying to run a little twist inside there. Thielen comes right here, just unblocked because of the movement of the other 2 guys. He's straight into the ball. What a good play. Get up with the ball. He gets a little block from 54 there and stumbles in for a big, huge play on special teams for the Vikings.
And a 30-yard return. He does it all. And with the extra point, it'll be 14-0 Vikings. It's as if Minnesota is playing for a playoff spot. They come in at 4-7. A special teams play produces a touchdown. Vikings special teams coach Mike Prefer and his squad doing the job. First block punt for a touchdown at 453 games for the Vikings. That's the longest active span in the league. In fact, Isaac Holt, 1986 at San Francisco, was the last Viking punt block for a touchdown. Kicking off with a 14-0 lead. Into the end zone and wisely downing it. Fozzie Whitaker. Carolina offense will come out to the 20-yard line. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, you mentioned the heating system this field has at the top of the game. Here's what it looks like. The heating coils are really pipe. 38 miles of this crisscrosses this field vertically and horizontally, about 6 inches below my feet. Right now, 120-degree antifreeze is pumping through these pipes, and that's what allows the field to be about 50 degrees. So, Chris, for the players, it really feels like normal artificial turf in an indoor stadium, Chris.
Thanks, Jen. They need to pump something into this Carolina offense. Uninspired football with a division title on the line despite just 3 wins. Pass is caught by Tolbert. He spins down right away. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
Andrew Luck has had a little bit of everything today. Fumbled on the first play of the game and lost it. Threw an interception in the second possession. And now in the third possession, a touchdown pass to Kobe Fleener. It's all good enough for a 7-3 lead over Washington. Chris, Rondé, and Jed.
Thank you, Kurt. Kurt will be updating us on all the other games going on today. Tampa Bay is leading for those. They're still in it in the South. Atlanta plays later today on Fox. Yes, yeah, everybody's in it. The Saints are trailing 3-0 in Pittsburgh.
Hey, we're going to 36.
Read option, and it goes to D'Angelo Williams straight ahead. It'll bring up third down.
I'm glad you mentioned the start of this drive, the urgency that we're not seeing right now in this Carolina team. Not only on offense, obviously they've had the 2-3 and outs, the block punt, the defense on their first drive just let Minnesota march right down the field for a touchdown. They look really listless right now. They're going to have to turn it around. Still early in this game, obviously. But if you're playing for a playoff spot and it's a 5-game run, you got to get it going here.
And that's what they talked about last night when we sat down with Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, head coach Ron Rivera. Pass is caught, and getting the first down is Jericho Cotchery, third on the team in catches, still looking for his first touchdown as a member of the Panthers. Well, it was Carolina last year at Minnesota, Rondé. It was the 5th game of the year, week 6, and they went on to a 35-10 win, and that got them going. That got their winning streak. They went on to a division title in the playoffs.
Change up here, Chris. No huddle offense. See if they can get something going here.
Going deep for Benjamin, and incomplete. A little bit of contact, but no flag, and Rhodes was with him.
Well, Chris, you talked about that game here last year, and if you talk to some of the guys from that team last year, they'll say that was their get-right game. For whatever reason, they were kind of feeling like they are now in the season. They were 1-3 at the point. They needed to make a run. That's when the defense started to show itself. That's when Cam got real efficient with the football. Different situation, but they're going to have to get on a similar run, I think, if they're going to have any chance of winning this division.
On second down 10 after the deep ball, Jonathan Stewart, the running back. Greg Olsen in motion. And it is Stewart who has a block. And there goes Jonathan Stewart. And he's on the Vikings side of the field and out of bounds around the Minnesota 40-yard line. A strong early run from the team's leading rusher this season.
Well, they don't have a lot of rushing yards this year, largely because this guy, Jonathan Stewart, has been hurt. You see the block there by Greg Olsen. He finds time, patient, lets his blocks develop for him. And he's able to explode through that hole and get a big, big play.
And when I asked Greg Olsen about when Cam is at his best, he said when there's a no huddle. That's when he feels he's in a groove, and that's what he's doing here, completing a short pass to Philly Brown.
He also said, Chris, that it's not something that you can major in, especially with the type of offense that they have. It's not West Coast. It's not the quick-hitting short passes. This team likes to throw the ball down the field, establish a running game. It's just really hard to do that in no huddle all the time. It's just not built for it. but they're doing it here. They need to get some points on the board. They had no energy before this, and now they've got something going now.
D'Angelo Williams checks in at running back at 2nd and 8. Moving close to field goal range. Sideline caught by Olsen. And close, let's see where he stepped out of bounds if they're going to mark it good enough for the first down. And it is a first down catch for Greg Olsen.
The rhythm of the offense when you're in this hurry up, it's just similar to 2 minute at the end of the half, at the end of the game. You put your defense on their heels a little bit. They're not able to get the right calls in. They can't substitute. So this works in the offense's favor.
And Newton hands to D'Angelo Williams. He slips through the pile. He gets down to the 20, just short of what would be another Carolina first down. We'll give him 9 yards on the carry. That's his 4th carry. He's been the workhorse on the ground so far in this opening quarter. And that reworked offensive line helping to give him some running room.
He ran that ball over rookie Trey Turner's side. Obviously, we know Ryan Khalil is a mainstay in there, but Trey Turner could be a really good player. Saw a really good block there on that play.
Angelo Williams hit hard and stopped short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and less than a yard. Tom Johnson, who's been terrific in a backup role, stuffed D'Angelo Williams.
Tom Johnson has been the glue really on this defensive line. Obviously, I think Sharif Floyd is a really good football player, but Tom Johnson, in absence of him last week, played nose tackle. He played that 3 technique on this defense, so he played both positions, and he's been very productive all season.
3 tight ends come in what looks to be a running situation with Tolbert, their short yardage back. Remember, he missed 8 games with a knee injury. Cam Newton keeps it and lunges forward. That 6'5", 248-pound frame, good enough, should be, for a first down. Let's see if they're going to measure. And they did give him credit for the first down. An impressive response by this Carolina offense after a quick 3 and out and trailing 14-0.
Well, they got to get points out of this drive. Creep into the red zone here. It opens up your playbook a little bit. They're going 1 tight end and 2 back sets this whole drive.
Jonathan Stewart slips a tackle and gets down to the 15-yard line.
And they're doing that, Chris, because I think they want to emphasize the run. Cam, like I said earlier in this game or in the open, he's had some issues throwing the football of late. He's thrown an interception in each game, some crucial turnovers. If you can establish a running game, especially down here, it'll really set the tone for the day for this offense.
Flag on what would have been the 12th play of the drive.
Neutral zone infraction, number 97, defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second out.
That call on Everson Griffin and Brad Allen. His crew has called the 2nd fewest number of penalties of any crew officiating this season. And that's the first penalty of this game.
Really good by Cam working that hard count there. Get a free 5 yards out of it, make it 2nd and short.
Yellow, 5-5.
Stewart in at the running back spot. He gets the carry, he'll lose yardage. Brian Robinson.
They put 2 tight ends on that side of the ball, and Brian Robinson just splits them both and affects that play in the backfield. Robert Blanton was there as well. They brought pressure on that side. Carolina just couldn't handle it.
A loss of 2, and now that brings up 3rd down and 3. And even this early, the Panthers might be thinking, with Ron Rivera, nicknamed Riverboat Ron, this may be 2-down territory if they don't get the first.
I would not be surprised at that, but this offense loves to spread you out, get some quick throws, see if they get a bullet route to the tight end here.
And Newton, middle of the field, the ball's batted. He was trying to get it to Greg Olsen, but tipped at the line of scrimmage. And it's 4th and 3. And here comes Graham Gano and the field goal unit.
I think everybody on the Vikings defense knew where this ball was trying to get to. Put Greg Olsen close to the core. Quick, easy throw for Cam, but the defensive line did a great job getting their hands up. Knew they weren't going to get there on a quick set by the quarterback.
Linval Joseph looked like the guy who batted the ball. And here's Graham Gano to get the Panthers on the board with a 30-yard attempt. slips it through. Again, this the open end of this stadium where the wind can sometimes swirl and cause problems for the kickers. But the Panthers respond with 3, trailing in Minnesota. With Rodney Barber, Chris Myers, our entire crew, glad to have you watching here from chilly, frigid Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Panthers at 3-7-1. If they win out, they win the division no matter what anybody else does. But they've lost 5 in a row, and they trail here by 11. That's Cordero Patterson, not starting at wide receiver for the 3rd straight game, but hoping for a big return are the Vikings. And he's bringing it out. Patterson stopped short of the 25-yard line. Our view, and it's a good one. It's artificial heated field. That might be the warmest spot. Well, we might have the warmest spot up here.
Well, you know, the follically challenged of us have to wear a hat. You got the hair.
Is that right?
You can manage.
I didn't want to wear a hat because it would mess my hair up. Has it messed the cold with the Panthers at all, or has it been more about Minnesota being prepared?
I think this is about Minnesota starting this game really fast and Carolina really coming out a little flat. Now, the good thing is they have time to make up for it and start slow and still on the road, still have a chance to get back into this football game. They're going to need a stop here on defense. They're going to start it here.
And his first of the day, Joe Banyard, who is similar in running style to the injured Jerick McKinnon.
You know, Chris, I never played a game quite this cold, but once you get going, the cold just goes out of the window. You don't even think about it. You get to the sideline when it's warm, and you go.
And a quick no huddle pass caught by Jarius Wright. And he is tackled right around the first down marker at the 35-yard line, and that'll bring an end to the opening quarter. Teddy Bridgewater, 4 out of 4 to start this game, and a big special teams play. The Vikings lead 14-3 over the Panthers. Fox NFL Sunday continues. Vikings with a first down from the 35-yard line. As we start the second quarter, Joe Banyard is the running back. He gets the carry and works to get up to the 38-yard line. Undrafted free agent from Texas, El Paso, had 5 carries for 26 yards last week. As we check the opening quarter statistics, the big punt block and return for a touchdown, the difference. Bridgewater throws and completes. That's Kyle Rudolph. He's 5 out of 5. And Thomas Davis, the veteran, runs him out of bounds. And Thomas Davis told us we have to quit, meaning the Panthers, sitting around talking about other teams in our division to lose. And the Saints losing, the Falcons losing, the Bucs, and we have to win.
Well, they have the opportunity, and it starts today, and we can't say it enough, that they have to win this game to get on that roll that they want to and get to the playoffs. So you get this situation, you're very fortunate that your division is down. At some point, you got to grab it and take it, and I think they have to do that today, Chris.
Teddy Bridgewater with a 3rd and 5. 5 out of 5 so far. And he's been grabbing and taking this first half of the game. Pressure coming, and he has to get rid of it early. Thomas Davis right up the middle. And the development of the 22-year-old first-round draft pick, and look at what he's done so far.
Well, you know, they wanted to get off the fast starts last week at Green Bay. I think he was a little nervous playing up there, but give him easy completions. Let him force the ball later. He'll continue to develop. I like the way this kid plays. Nothing affects him. It's be a good test for him today in a game that really means nothing for Minnesota other than building towards next season.
Brendan Burson, fair catch on the jet block punt just inside the 20-yard line of the Carolina Panthers.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Citizen Echo Drive, powered by light. Any light, never needs a battery. Citizen. And by T-Mobile, changing the game of wireless.
This week, 4 of the nation's top teams face in key games to keep their championship hopes alive. The road to the college football playoff goes through the Pac-12 championship and the Big Ten championship Friday and Saturday on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. University of Minnesota fans frustrated that their team could not beat Wisconsin, but a heck of a game. Battle in the Big Ten yesterday. On first down, Jonathan Stewart from Cam Newton, and he's going to go out of bounds. Stewart's 26-yard run in the first quarter was a season-long run for the Carolina Panthers.
And only the second run over 20 yards all year, and he has the other one. This running game's really struggled. Obviously, we mentioned the offensive line issues, the flux that they've been under all week. You know, we saw that drive last time. They came out no huddle. They're doing the same thing this drive. See if they can get some energy back into this offense.
Patry in the backfield, handoff Stewart, who goes straight ahead. And the emphasis on the running game. Are you surprised we haven't seen more of the read option from Cam Newton here?
I'm not, because of his injuries, because we know that he's hurt. Yeah, I've seen on film this week watching Cam, him not even be able to run away from defensive linemen, which, you know, years past, you just knew that he had the ability to do that. So I know that he's hurt. So it's not surprising at all that they're relying on Jonathan Stewart, Mike Tolbert, D'Angelo Williams today.
On 3rd and 1, Tolbert comes in. Last time, Cam Newton kept straight ahead, and that's what he does this time to get the first down.
Well, I was going to say, if you ever need 1 yard in this offense, you have a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback, just run a sneak.
Well, and Panther fans, remember, Cam Newton did not start week 1. The offseason ankle surgery ending that streak of 48 straight regular season starts. Fractured a rib in the 3rd preseason game. That's really what kept him out. But just overall, it seems like he's never been 100% healthy and trying to play through it.
He's taken some shots, passing game, sacked a bunch. You see the big rib flak jacket that he has underneath there, still protecting those ribs.
They fake it to Philly Brown. DeAndre Presley is scrambling around and knocked down short of the 29-yard line. Former quarterback at Appalachian State, signed as a free agent and brought up from the practice squad.
Well, they were trying to do a little bit too much there. Double reverse, fake handoff. I don't even know what to classify that, but Minnesota's defense sniffed that out from the get-go, stayed at home. I mentioned that they're a very sound unit. When they do their job, they're really, really good.
A loss of 2 on 2nd down 12. Benjamin, bottom of your screen for Cam Newton. He has 1 catch so far. Right on target to Benjamin for the first down catch, sliding inside the 45 of the Panthers.
Captain Munnerlyn had really tight coverage on this throw, but this is a bullet. You're asking how Cam would deal with the cold, if holding the ball without a glove would matter. He spun that thing in there real nice.
Quickly to the line after a gain of 16. Heard that hard count.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, we saw that work earlier in the game, and not that he got his own guys there. Minnesota did flinch, but they never crossed into the neutral zone. So when his offensive lineman moved in response, it is a false start. It's the right call.
I think they were counting on it. Byron Bell, the left tackle,
Greg Brown.
called for the infraction.
Hey, drag double. Drag double.
Cam has it. Cam Newton run out of bounds near midfield by Captain Munnerlyn. Former teammates. Let's get a game break. Say hi to Joel Klatt. Joel?
All right, Chris, we go down to Tampa Bay, where Doug Martin takes it in from 7 yards out. The Bucs have a 10-0 lead over the Bengals. Cincinnati a half-game lead over the rest of the AFC North. And Tampa just 2 games back of the Saints and Atlanta in that crazy South.
And we're keeping a close eye. 76 degrees in Tampa. It's 7 below here right now.
Cincinnati's wilting in the hot Tampa sun, I guess.
And Cam Newton trying to warm up here for the Panthers. Ill-advised throw to Philly Brown, and the coverage by Robert Blanton.
Here you go, like ex-teammates practiced against each other for years. Cam really could have got a penalty for having his hand in captain's face mask, but a little gamesmanship here, some little jawing afterwards.
Look how small Captain Munderland looks compared to Cam Newton.
Hey, I can relate. I'm the same size as Captain Munderland. Cam's a big dude.
On 3rd and 5, the Panthers drove 68 yards last time they had the ball for a field goal. Cam Newton is airing it out. And incomplete for Philly Brown. You said you were the size of Captain Munderland. You play that same position. Of course, your Hall of Fame career is a corner with your sacks and interception. I think you even crouched down to make Captain feel good there.
I see Captain every time we have one of their games. He's always joking that he has a half an inch of me.
And I'm not gonna. This is, by the way, James Petralka, our spotter. Rick Odioso helps with stats. But see, you don't have to crouch down.
No, not for you.
It's blocked. Another blocked punt. Everson Griffin has the football, and he's going to have a Viking touchdown. 2 blocked punts, 2 touchdowns for Minnesota.
Well, that was unexpected, especially if you're the Carolina Panthers. Minnesota left their defense on the field. That's not their punt return unit. They were in a safe punt defense, and Carolina just went to sleep. See, these are just the rush guys that are on the field on defense. And 54, Jasper Brinkley comes in untouched again, just like Thielen did early in the game. And Everson Griffin thanking him for another Vikings touchdown on special teams.
We still have 9 minutes and 35 seconds to go before the half, and already 2 blocked punts resulting in 2 touchdowns.
Minnesota has 61 yards of total offense, but 21 points on the scoreboard.
First time in franchise history, and the Vikings have been around a long time, that they've had 2 blocked punts resulting in touchdowns returned for the score. And it has them out in front, 21-3. There's the guy who blocked it. Back up, or the linebacker, I should say, Jasper Brinkley, and Griffin ran it in. And this kick will go into the end zone through for a touchback. Whitaker watches it. And the Vikings, you think they're the ones that came off the bye week. They've seen something on the special team side and turned it into points.
Today's game is sponsored by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
Carolina special teams coach probably looking for a place to hide at this moment. 2 blocked punts resulting in Minnesota touchdowns. And now 21-3 with D'Angelo Williams in the backfield, and he gets the carry. Well, it was Greg Olsen who said, we don't have to apologize to anybody about our division. The fact that we've had a rough year, but we can dig ourselves out of the hole with this game starting here and putting on a winning streak after losing 5 straight. But they're in a bigger hole today.
He's also the one that told us that they cannot beat themselves and expect to stay in football games. They're just not good enough to do that. The 2 blocked punts for touchdowns shows me that they're just not ready for this game, especially coming off a bye week. Just somewhat disappointed for this.
Newton can't find anybody. He will slide. Well, encouraging. Cam Newton, as rough a season as he's had, especially during the losing streak, he leads the NFL with 8 fourth-quarter touchdown passes this season. 8 of his 12 have come in the fourth quarter. So if the Panthers can stay within striking distance, it gives them some hope. But again, the field conditions, playing on the road, the weather, and the way the Vikings are playing inspired football, it's a lot to ask. Now 3rd and 9. Four-man rush. He's got time, and Kelvin Benjamin, the rookie, to midfield.
This was all about protection here for Cam Newton. He kept Greg Olsen in to block, gave him a lot of time to find his open receiving, and Kelvin Benjamin here on the outside running this deep in route, 15, 16 yards, and Cam delivers another good ball to him. Big gain on 3rd down, 3rd long.
Looked like nickelback Josh Robinson had him on that play. And Benjamin, the leading receiver today, with 3 catches. Stewart checks in at running back after a gain of 30. Underneath, Stewart with the catch down to the 42-yard line.
Well, I will say, Chris, from up here, we have a late flag on the field. I'm not sure what this will be, but I will say there doesn't seem to be much panic on the Panthers sideline. Cam looks calm. Still, I think they're still dedicated to running the football. We've seen that already on this drive. Still got time to get back into this football game. We'll see if they can maintain that throughout the rest of this game.
Illegal contact, number 36 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, that may have been literally the latest flag I have ever seen.
It's on Robert Blanton.
I think they were at the line of scrimmage getting ready to snap the next play when he threw it.
Blanton and Harrison Smith have both played their college football at Notre Dame, starting safeties for this Viking team, but the penalty does give them a first down to the Viking 44. Jonathan Stewart. It's down to the 39, inside the 39-yard line of the Vikings. Under 7 minutes to play here in the first half. The Panthers have had the ball for over 17.5 minutes. The Vikings just about 5 minutes, but the block punts have been the story.
Real important, Chris, I think, to convert this drive into a touchdown. And then go out and play defense, see if you can hold Minnesota. It gives them a much better feel at the end of this first half.
Handoff Stewart. Jonathan Stewart slips for a first down inside the 31. I'm amazed that the Panthers could be this patient with their running game.
I think they have to be this patient. You don't want to give the ball to Cam. Let him try to win this game on his arm at this point in the game. And Jonathan Stewart, he's been the workhorse all day, catching the ball out of the backfield. We've seen him running the ball, guys bouncing off of him. I tell you, when it gets cold, Chris, that guy, you don't want to hit him. He's too big and strong.
Cam Newton keeps straight ahead. Gets down to the 25-yard line. What was it Ron Rivera was talking about? How defenders tackling players, the game even sounds different in this kind of cold weather.
I thought that was a great analogy that he made. It sounds different because there's not as much popping of the pads. When it gets cold, people really just want to put their hands on guys. You see a lot more hand battles. You see some hand placement deals. You don't see as many people rubbing shoulders, I guess, like it normally is.
After a gain of 5. Cam Newton taking command and throwing. Almost a one-handed catch. A tough catch for Kelvin Benjamin. It'll be 3rd and 5.
He would have came down with that thing.
Well, the ball, as you said, it gets harder, and then even as Greg Olson said, sometimes the shape feels different, almost balloon-like. And constantly we'll throw up the temperature as all day. It's going to be even colder here in the Minneapolis area tomorrow.
Big 3rd down here. Minnesota loves these double-A gaps. They're up in there now.
Cam Newton can run for the first down. And he lunges down to the 20 and gets it.
It's a really good job there, Chris, by Cam, making a decisive decision to run that football. There was no place for him to throw there. Easily could have gone down before that first down sticks, but I like that he stuck his head in there and got the necessary yardage.
Second leading rusher on the team this year and averaging over 4.5 yards a carry. He's had to keep it 6 times on the ground today.
5-4, single scissors.
D'Angelo Williams spinning down to about the 16-yard line.
We talked about this offensive line, the transition that they've been going through. Byron Bell has started every game. So has Ryan Khalil. But Trey Turner's been in and out of the lineup. Andrew Norwell at left guard is new into this lineup, even though he's played. Mike Rimmer's starting at right tackle. But so far today, Chris, they've got 100 yards on the ground already. It's somewhat impressive that they've committed to it.
And Remmers, a former Viking, signed off the Rams practice squad, starting today for Carolina. Cam Newton, pressure, and gets rid of it. Ryan Robinson, who has 3.5 sacks this year for the Vikings, was the guy applying the heat on Cam Newton. Checking some other scores here. The Saints have gone in front in Pittsburgh. They lead 7-6 late in the second quarter. And the Buccaneers have a 10-0 lead at home against the Bengals. The Falcons play later today at home against Arizona on Fox. That's the NFC South picture. Panthers have their own work to do here, trailing by 18.
This is the formation of the day here for Carolina. You see Greg Olsen at the top of your screen, sold it up to the single receiver side.
Cam Newton throws, and Benjamin can't hold it. The coverage was very good by Blanton. It's fourth down.
Well, they got a matchup that they liked right there when you get big 13 on Robert Blanton, the safety. But he does a really nice job, really patient play, get his hand in there to knock that away for an incompletion.
Gano, 19 of 23 this year, including one already from 30. This will be from 35 yards. And the Panthers inch a little bit closer. No problems blocking for the field goal unit, as the Vikings have a commanding 21-6 lead here in the second quarter. Hard-hitting championship caliber fights are on Fox. Should be an epic bout. A full weekend of UFC action Friday, December 12th, with the Ultimate Fighter finale on Fox Sports 1, where a champion will be crowned, and then it continues Saturday, December 13th, with UFC Fight Night on Fox. Keeping the footballs as warm as they can, and the officials were telling me before the game they can request a change as long as they're not trying to stop the clock or slow down play, just as if you would with a wet football in the rain.
Yeah, that jet right there is the most popular spot on any bench on a day like today.
Gano boots it, and through the end zone, no chance for Cordero Patterson. Last team with 2 blocked punts resulting in touchdowns in an NFL game. Vikings have done that today, but the Chiefs back in 1990 did it against Cleveland. Meanwhile, Teddy Bridgewater hadn't had the ball much, probably chilling over on the sideline.
Literally chilling.
5 out of 6 in the game. He has the touchdown pass to Kyle Rudolph. This is only the 3rd possession of the half for Minnesota. Matt Asian spinning to the 26. Let's get a game break. Check in again with Joel Klatt.
All right, Chris, and we go to Pittsburgh, where Drew Brees finds Benjamin Watson. Busted coverage there from Pittsburgh. Saints go up by 1. It's 7-6. Carolina watching that one closely, guys. Chris and Rondé, back to you.
And they are trying to win their 4th game of the year as Luke Kuechly peers in. The Viking offense. Bridgewater sets to throw. High and incomplete off the hands of Charles Johnson. Josh Norman on the coverage. Well, the development of Bridgewater, there were some comments. He hadn't thrown a lot of deep balls this season. Hadn't completed many, I should say. But accuracy issues are what they were talking about. We have a flag down here, and it came in late again. It's on the Carolina side of the field. I don't know what they're discussing.
Josh Norman, who likes to spout off a little bit.
Conduct by taunting, number 24 defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You know what? Sometimes let your play on the field talk. I don't know what he's talking to this receiver for. He just made a great play on the ball, and you know, one way to hurt your team is to do this. And you saw Thomas Davis there, who we talked to yesterday, who does not put up with this type of nonsense on this football team. He got right in his face and let him know you can't have that.
So it is a first down. They run the end around to Jarius Wright.
You know, we talked about some self-inflicted wounds on the offensive side of the ball. The interceptions, the drops. This is another example of a self-inflicted wound. You make a good play on defense, then you get a stupid, unsportsmanlike penalty call, and it's unexcusable.
Well, Josh Norman is a guy who was John this week, at least quoted in some places, talking negatively about Captain Munnerlyn when they shared time with Carolina. That appeared really unnecessary. And that was an unnecessary penalty, further hurting the Carolina Panthers. On 2nd and 5. Asiata with a first down. Carrying tacklers to the 47 of Carolina. The numbers can be deceiving, but there's a lot of ways to win a football game, and the special teams play is obviously, with block punts and 2 touchdowns, the difference for the Vikings.
72 yards of total offense. I wouldn't think that they'd have a 21 points on the scoreboard.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. The Vikings with a commanding lead, and they have the football in Carolina territory. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Matt Asiata on first down. All 3 timeouts for the Vikings. They also get the ball to start the second half, leading 21-6. Oh, the Cookie Monster is here enjoying the game. Updating these scores for those in the NFC South. There will be a division winner. And at the half, Visa at the half, we'll all have updated highlights on these games. Again, Atlanta playing at home against the Arizona Cardinals, who have the best record in the NFL. Later today on Fox. Second and 5. Ball is knocked loose. It's laying on the ground, and Bridgewater alertly gets back to it, but Charles Johnson came in from his end spot and knocked the ball away.
If there's been one consistent on this defensive line, it's been Charles Johnson this year. You see him coming out of the right side of your screen. Just Teddy's getting ready to whip this thing down the field, but good heads up, ball-aware play by the defensive end.
First sack of the game for the Panthers, and for Charles Johnson, his 6th sack of the season. And Vikings fortunate after a timeout to get the ball back after a loss of 8. Now 3rd down and 13.
Charge timeout, Carolina.
The clock had run for a while. Talk about how cold it is here after playing in the Metrodome for 21 seasons, from 61 to 81. The Vikings, this was their home. Metropolitan Stadium, Bloomington, Minnesota. Their all-time record there, 97 wins, 59 losses, 4 ties, but they had 4 NFC championship games. Bud Grant, who wouldn't allow, remember the benches were on the same side of the field, he wouldn't allow his players to be near the hand warmers or the heaters, so the opposing team, Viking players, would go over there to the visiting bench to try and sneak a little warm spot.
Hey, you know what? It was a mentality back then. You see the cranes of the new stadium in the background there. You know, those Vikings teams were 19-9 back then. I was looking up those stats earlier. Their mentality was right for this type of weather.
Bridgewater for Charles Johnson, who's got a first down catch. Impressive throw.
People question that arm strength. We saw it right there. And Teddy Bridgewater hasn't been asked to do much this first half because that special teams has scored 2 touchdowns. But when they've needed him, he has been right on target today, Chris.
And that was a 3rd down play, so the Vikings use a timeout. They have 2 remaining. You see how much time on the clock after that 17-yard completion, and Bridgewater 6 out of 8. He had the early touchdown to give Minnesota the lead as the players try and stay warm again after next season. Playing here at the University of Minnesota, they'll go into their new stadium. Visa halftime report. Latest on the NFC North, AFC North, along with the NFC South situation.
You know, Carolina needs to get a stop here, get to halftime, defrost. Really get some urgency in their game. They need to stop here. This could get a little ugly here.
Bridgewater avoids the rush and completes the pass. Vikings. Matt Asiata goes down in the arms of Luke Kuechly. And some extra shoving going on there.
We've talked about how slow this Minnesota offense has been to start football games, but the one thing that Teddy does real well, we saw it right there, that helps his offense is his ability to move around in the pocket. As I was looking at that, that looked like it was going to be another clear sack by Charles Johnson. His instinctiveness to step up in the pocket, still have his eyes downfield and be able to deliver is a huge asset.
Vikings use the timeout there. Each team with one remaining. Minnesota, again, it's that open end of the stadium. Looks like the wind's not kicking up at the moment. Should they need to go for a field goal, but still 41 seconds before the half and before they can add to their lead. Or try to add to the lead. There's a look at, they see still snow from the other day. It snowed this week. Just cold today. Bridgewater has room. He throws on the run. Catch by Greg Jennings and knocked down right away.
And there it is again, the theme of Teddy Bridgewater. Being able to move out of the pocket, deliver on the run. Nice play.
And wisely stopped the clock with 23 seconds and 1 timeout remaining. Greg Jennings, who made that catch, one of the veterans who helped the young quarterback on this offense. And he made a point, too, the struggles of Minnesota scoring early, that we come out counter-punching instead of trying to land an early shot. Well, they've done that today. And all the way to the 18 of Carolina and a 21-6 lead. Chanting Teddy here at the stadium. Bridgewater open, completes. That is Greg Jennings, and he is in for the Viking touchdown.
Well, how impressive was that drive, Chris? They get the ball off of that mindless penalty, that unsportsmanlike penalty. They march down the field, and Greg Jennings gets in the flat. And just look at this move. That quick two-step leaves Anton Kaysen on the ground, and Greg Jennings walks in for the touchdown. That is a debilitating score there. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan, watching them march down in a 2-minute drill with a young quarterback and score a touchdown that puts you up 28-6 going into halftime. And Ron Rivera is thinking to himself, what has happened to my football team off of a bye week and just getting served up on all 3 phases by the Minnesota Vikings today on the road.
Blair Walsh with the extra point. An 80-yard drive that took over 3 minutes and a 17-yard toss to Greg Jennings. 2 touchdown passes today for Bridgewater. Vikings with a 22-point advantage. And Greg Jennings on the receiving end since 2007, moving on up the list, an impressive list. Headlined by some outstanding pass catchers, including the tight end Antonio Gates.
It's easy to forget what type of receiver Greg Jennings was before he left Green Bay. He was, I mean, I played against him. I hated covering this guy in the slot and outside. He was so quick, so fast. When he comes here, has to deal with some quarterback issues. But I'm telling you, he is a great asset for the young Teddy Bridgewater to have at receiver.
Bridgewater, the Vikings leaning on the rookie since Matt Castle was hurt earlier in the year. A short kick. And with under 10 seconds, Carolina has that 1 timeout. Let's check and see what Kurt Menefee has going on back in the home office.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, Andy Dalton and the Bengals try to hold on to the top spot in the AFC North. The Chargers and Ravens in a battle for playoff position in Baltimore. And the Raiders play the Rams. And while those aren't playoff teams, it is Howie's favorite game of the day. Highlights and more at half.
Guys getting ready. Jimmy, Michael Strowers, Terry. Terry was not in the picture. I hope he's not heckling the production crew there back in Los Angeles.
I'm sure he is.
Disappointing, uninspired first half for this Carolina Panther team. They've lost 5 in a row, 3-7-1, but because of the other teams in the NFC South, they're still in the playoff picture. Meanwhile, the Vikings coming off an impressive performance in a loss, as their head coach last week said against Green Bay. There are no moral victories, but the young team coming together.
Well, they still, like I said, they still have a lot to play for. I think this is a very solid formed group on defense. On offense, yes, they're a work in progress with the young quarterback. The running game has suffered for various reasons all year, but they look good today.
2 block punts resulting in touchdowns. The Vikings will get the ball to start the second half. Right now, let's head to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles. Getting ready to start the third quarter. Minnesota leading 28-6. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. Exciting for Viking fans on special teams. 2 blocked punts, each returned for a touchdown. They had gone 453 games without a block punt for a touchdown, the longest span in the league during that time. We mentioned it's with a wind chill -7, 11 degrees, so fans who have braced for this game sitting on the sunny side of the field.
We are not on the sunny side of the field.
We're in a booth, but we have the window open to take in the ambiance, and it's exciting but cold.
It's very cold.
And again, the field is an artificial surface. The Vikings playing here for the 2 seasons put in the heating elements that warm it up as the second half is underway. And the kick goes through Cordero Patterson, and the Vikings will take over at the 20-yard line. Well, the Saints are leading in the game against Pittsburgh, Rondé, as the Panthers still have playoff hopes but uninspired football so far. What do they have to do to try to get back in this game other than block for their punter?
Yeah, other than that, it can't have any more breakdowns on special teams for sure, but it's the self-inflicted wounds. We'll talk about it all day today. The things that they're not doing well on offense or defense to beat themselves is why they're in a hole now, and they're going to have to change. Something's got to give for this deep offense and defense if they're going to get back in this game and make a run to the playoffs.
Matt Asiata carries. Meanwhile, the further development of 22-year-old rookie Teddy Bridgewater. We mentioned this is 8th career start, and he's been steady. Some have been critical that he doesn't throw the ball deep well or has not gone downfield with great accuracy.
You know what, I would like people, pundits, whoever, focus on what he is, not what people think he isn't. You know, we know what he is. He can move out of the pocket. He's poised. He's a smart guy. They love him here in Minnesota, so regardless of what people think about him outside of the building, he is their quarterback of the future.
Cordero Patterson checks in. Pass intended for him, but it's incomplete. Let's check in down on the field and with Jennifer Hale again. Jennifer?
Well, Chris, turns out Teddy Bridgewater was sick yesterday, running a fever of more than 100 degrees. So as you might imagine, Mike Zimmer thrilled that the special teams unit is helping them out here. He told me that actually they saw weaknesses in the Panthers punting game on film, and they practiced all week blocking punts and running them back. Never thought they'd get 2 in one half, though. Meanwhile, I could hear Coach Ron Rivera's halftime speech from out in the hallway with the locker room doors closed. Basically, Chris, he told his team he wants to see more mental toughness, and he wants to see it now.
On third down, Bridgewater to Matt Asiata, and it'll be 4th down.
Well, there's a good positive first step for the Carolina Panthers. Getting off from 3 downs, the first series of the second half. Should have some favorable field position with this punt. But this offense has to get going. You know, we've seen them march down the field, but have yet to materialize that into any points other than the 2 field goals.
Well, there's Jeff Locke. Mike Briefer, the special teams coach, telling me before the game that both he and Blair Walsh would come every Wednesday to this field on their own and practice in different conditions to get used to this environment. Brent Burson lets it go, and it rolls for Minnesota inside the 20. Well played.
Well, you saw the conditions there. That ball floated on them about 5-10 yards. In that field position we thought they have, they're all the way back at the 20.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Dodge Dart. Don't touch it. By Burger King. Mix and match 2 large premium sandwiches for just $5 only at Burger King. And by Walmart. This Cyber Monday, win bigger with deals unlocked throughout the day on walmart.com.
Viking fans staying warm. They don't look excited there, but they are. They're just trying to stay warm. It's a 28-6 Viking lead, and it's the largest lead they've had in 2 years at a half. Panthers trying to rally with Jonathan Stewart. And a tough run for a first down across the 30. Both teams actually ran the ball well in the first half.
Yeah, without those two special teams plays, this is a much more balanced game, but obviously those plays are affecting. But Jonathan Stewart's been doing this all day, bouncing off tacklers. Love the way he runs. His pad level is always low. Need to get him more involved in their offense, though I don't know if they'll have the ability to do that down 22 points.
Over 100 yards rushing today combined for the Panthers, averaging almost 5 a carry, but only 6 points. Time for Cam Newton, and open is Greg Olsen, who gets near midfield for a Carolina first down. That's only his second catch of the game. They had the ball for almost 22 minutes in the first half, only producing a couple of field goals as Olsen seems to be limping or feeling some of the effects of that tackle.
You know, old Greg Olsen is a unique tight end, and he's hurt. He's hurt. You can see that this is not stable on that knee.
After a gain of 19 from midfield, Cam Newton has the football and run out of bounds. Let's go back and see what happened to Greg Olsen after that catch.
You know, I think the hit right on his knee, just the shoulder, Harrison Smith's shoulder pad right on the top of his kneecap, and it's just, you know, it's cold out. There's an impact on it. It's just struggling a little bit now.
Olsen staying in the game on 2nd and 1. Tolbert and a first down.
We'll get back to that thought on Greg Olsen, because I really think he's having a Pro Bowl type of year, and you know how the popularity contest of that works. But unlike some tight ends in the NFL now, he is an every down player. He's not situational. He doesn't come in on 3rd down. He doesn't go out of the football game. They use him to block. Obviously, he's one of their biggest threats as a receiver. He is the complete guy right now, and you see his numbers on the year. Only one guy has had a better season than him statistically this year, and that's a big monster up in New England.
Coldest game he's played in since becoming a Panther. Of course, he played in Chicago, the team that drafted him. Plenty of time for Cam Newton, and wide open is Olsen, who gets near another first down. Greg Olsen has been very, very consistent.
He really has, and the one thing is you'll see on these numbers here, just the receptions are always steady. The touchdown production is always steady. You know, this season been a struggle here of late, but there's been one constant. It has been this guy, Greg Olsen. There's not enough good things you can say about him. He's a great teammate.
Roy, 5-2.
He'll make you better, and I think he's made Cam better in his entire career.
Cam Newton flips. Jonathan Stewart is going to lose yardage. All they needed was a yard for a first down.
Yeah, and I think they got a little too cute there, trying to run an option. You could see the separation between quarterback and running back is a little large. I mean, look how much room there is for him to make that pitch. It was just played perfectly by Anthony Barr and Harrison Smith. There's no way for Jonathan Smith to get any positive yardage.
Jonathan Stewart.
Jonathan Stewart, I'm sorry. Thank you, partner.
That's why we're here.
My mouth is freezing.
None of it, yeah, it is. You know, it's funny when your mouth doesn't move as well when it's cold. I wonder how the quarterback could bark the signals out. On 3rd and 4, Cam Newton throws, and that is almost intercepted by Xavier Rhodes. He had it, and Benjamin had to play a little defense.
You know what? I think they're going to stay on the field here and go for this on 4th down, but I tell you what, Kelvin Benjamin covered up really nice here by Xavier Rhodes, and man, this should have been an interception, but look at him rip that ball out. Great defense by an offensive player there, or that would have been an interception for Xavier Rhodes.
And they played together at Florida State. Benjamin showing his physical strength, and you're right, Rondon, 4th and 4. Instead of trying a 50-yard field goal, they're down 22. They're going for it.
They need points. Field goals do not help you at this point.
Cam Newton going for it all. That's Philly Brown. He has the catch, and he has a Carolina touchdown.
Well, we're looking for something positive from this Panthers offense, and they come out and have a nice, solid drive, and dare I say, Riverboat Ron goes for it on 4th down. And Philly Brown, we talked about him earlier, just matched up on Josh Robinson, who had a tough game a couple of weeks ago, just gets run by Philly Brown. He's out of position, so he can't adjust his body on the underthrow. And it's a big play for Carolina, just what they needed to stay in this football game.
Former Ohio State Buckeye, the free agent Philly Brown, his second touchdown catch on a 4th down play. It's now 28-13. It's a nickname that follows Ron Rivera everywhere. Panthers get their first touchdown in this game and cut into the Viking lead, and afterward Mike Zimmer was upset with his safety.
Watch Harrison Smith here. They're playing single high, so it means he's going to go to the middle of the field. But watch him jump down that way and leave his corner, Josh Robinson, all by himself. You could tell he was expecting help, and Zimmer gives it to him when he gets to the sideline.
A 32-yard touchdown toss from Cam Newton and Graham Gano as they passed up the field goal. A liner that will go through the end zone and set the Vikings up at the 20-yard line. Bridgewater 10 out of 14 so far with a couple of touchdown tosses. Vikings have the lead. They have the football.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint.
With Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, our crew, we welcome you back to the NFL on Fox. Ben Tate in at running back. And here comes a flag on 1st down for the Vikings. There's only been 2 penalties accepted on each team in this game. A well-called game by Brad Allen and crew.
False start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
So you sense a little momentum shift just on that 4th down gamble that produced a touchdown for Carolina.
Well, they absolutely needed to score a touchdown there.
Graham Gano, that's what kickers are weird anyway, right?
Yeah, what is he doing? He's sitting on a roller, working out his gluteus maximus, I think. I don't know what that is. But they needed to score there, and their defense is going to need to get a stop here.
And on 1st and 15, it's Ben Tate. The former Houston Texan was in Cleveland, had 4 touchdowns for the Browns. Scott Turner, Norv Turner on this Viking staff. Picked him up. They had worked with him briefly in Cleveland. Same with Charles Johnson, who has helped this Minnesota offense.
Scott Turner, the quarterback coach, works very closely with Teddy. He was working with him before he got his first start of the year when Matt Castle went down. And he's a good young coach in this league.
Ben Tate is a receiver. Bridgewater on the run. And just kind of flipped the football forward. And now they're calling that an incomplete.
Field is an incomplete forward pass. Number 15 was in the area.
Brad Allen was right on top of that. This was not a fumble. It wasn't a forward lateral or anything. That thing was a shuffle pass, and he said it. His intended receiver was sitting right there. He was on the ground, but still a good call by that officiating crew.
Greg Jennings moving over to the sideline, but on 3rd and 14, a 3rd quarter tipping point for the Panthers, who are down 2 possessions here. Pressure coming on Bridgewater. He gets away, completes to Matt Asiata, but a quick tackle by Davis, and they'll lose yardage all the way back to the 10. 5-yard loss and 4th down.
Addison had him, Mario Addison, number 97, had him dead to rights, but Teddy did a good job. But you mentioned that momentum shift, that feeling of it. And this Carolina team, who dominated on defense last year, has got 2 quick stops on defense to start the second half, and that could be a huge part in this momentum shift that you're talking about.
Jeff Locke has to hurry. waving everybody away, and the kick will roll to midfield. And on the other side of the 49 of Carolina, where it will be down, a 40-yard punt without a return. Good field position for Cam Newton and the Panthers. All right, it's good to have a sense of humor when the wind chill is 7 below. We'll do the jokes. You just stay warm and root for your team. Or the other guy, Cam Newton, who has a 14-point comeback, the best of his pro career, and he did it this year against the Bears. On first down, Jonathan Stewart has a hole. Has a first down, goes out of bounds inside the 40, I should say the 37 of Minnesota.
We haven't seen much D'Angelo Williams today. It's because Jonathan Stewart has been giving this running offense everything. That was a very good patient run there. You saw him just hesitate behind the line of scrimmage and then get his blocks out in front of him and burst through there for a big gain. That was a nice run there.
He's averaging over 7 yards a carry. That was a 14-yard run. Stewart will go down and lose yardage in the arms of Harrison Smith. Let's get a game break. Check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, Chris, to Pittsburgh we go. Big Ben threw his second interception of the day. Ensuing drive, Nick Toon, 11 yards. It'll be reviewed. It stood 21-6 Saints on the road against Pittsburgh. Chris, Rondé, and Jen.
Saints showing some toughness in the much criticized NFC South. Panthers have that tie at 3-7-1. Saints come in with 4 wins along with Atlanta. Cam Newton knocked away, trying to get to Benjamin. Again, it was Rhodes.
This kid is balling today, Chris. And we talked about him earlier, his development as a corner. They put him on their #1 receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, and just, man, look at the ball awareness there. Hands on the ball, knocks it away. It's the best game I've seen Xavier Rhodes play this year.
And Sharif Floyd has a knee injury. He's out for the remainder of the game on that defensive line for the Vikings. Tom Johnson has played very well, taking that spot up front. On 3rd and 15. Middle of the field for Olsen. Chad Greenway, the veteran who for the last 6 years has led the team in tackles, being challenged by Anthony Barr in that area, was there on the coverage.
This is another good play by this Vikings defense. You know, Mike Zimmer's not scared to put pressure on these guys, on the quarterback, and leave his defenders in man-to-man coverage. And there, Chad Greenway made a nice play to get them off on 3rd down.
That was an important stop for the Viking defense. You address the momentum shift. Nortman gets the kick away. And it drops and rolls around the 7-yard line. Down by the Panthers. That's where Minnesota will take over on offense. Viking rookie linebacker Anthony Barr in that last series left injured. He's been the top tackler on the team this year. Vikings on offense starting from inside their 7-yard line, protecting a 15-point lead. Grant Asiano with a big hole, but he closes in a hurry as he tries to get to the 10-yard line. The Vikings have only lost 1 fumble this year, and I bring that up because in this part of the field you got to be careful. And Teddy Bridgewater, the coaching staff, talked glowingly about how for a young player he's protected the football well.
I think he's done it as good as any young quarterback in the league this year. He makes smart decisions. He doesn't try to force the ball into spots where it could be contested. And it's going to help. That mentality is going to help him as he goes farther along in his career.
It's a throw from his own 2, and going deep for Charles Johnson and incomplete. Josh Norman is running with it. It'll be 3rd down.
And this ball actually really well thrown. The coverage was there. And the question is Armstrong if you want to. He out threw a pretty fast receiver right there.
No flag. And the other part of that is that he just turned 22 in November for Bridgewater, that physically his body can develop a little bit more.
Yeah, this would be a big offseason for him when he gets there. See if he can get some strength in his upper body, and his arm strength will probably improve because of it.
To throw again, but he has room to run. Reaching, lunging, trying to get the first down. And it's spotted short. Charles Johnson was chasing him, and that's a big stop by the Panthers defense. Fans here don't like the spot.
Well, he showed some nice extra effort on that ball. Looked like he was going to go out well short.
Looks like he may challenge. He's got the flag out.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to go out of bounds well short of the first down marker, but gives a stiff arm to Thomas Davis, and just that last extra effort. Yeah, I think that's going to be a first down. You can see this from a higher angle. His left foot never goes out of bounds, or doesn't go out of bounds before that ball crosses our yellow line there, which is just superimposed there. I think he's going to win this challenge.
We'll review play.
Mike Zimmer 0 for 2 on challenges this year. We'll see what this one turns out to be. Ruled on the field short of the first down, challenged by Mike Zimmer and the Vikings as they take a closer look. Remember, it's where the ball is, since he hasn't touched out of bounds yet, except right there. And
that's the best look that we have at him getting that ball over that, where that yard marker, we think that yard marker is. And you know, from our perspective, it looked like a first down from the box. And then we got this replay. I think it's pretty sure that this is going to be a first down conversion for Minnesota.
Our rules analyst, Mike Pereira, who's watching every game and helping us out, looking in here. Mike, your observation, does it look like a first down?
Well, it does to me, although they haven't overturned much today or really recently. To me, the ball crosses the line at the 17. So if you moved it to the 17, it would seem to me to be a first down. And that's what Brad Allen was looking at with referee Dean Blandino. Usually when they take this time, they're going to reverse it.
Thank you, Mike.
After reviewing the play, the ball was at the 17.5-yard line when the runner went out of bounds. He reaches the line to gain. It will be 1st and 10. Minnesota is not charged a timeout, and they challenge first down.
I hate to say Mike Pereira is wrong. It wasn't the 17. It was the 17.5, Pereira.
No, Mike Pereira, when he's not couch gating, he's helping us in every game with the officials, and it was a good challenge. Mike Zimmer, as a head coach in the NFL, wins his first challenge. He's now 1 out of 3, and important because on third down, obviously no punt. Vikings keep the football. And trading out the football.
Wait, 59! Go, ready! Here you go! Reload!
There, set! Ready! Ready, hot!
Bridgewater underneath to Matt Asiata, who gets to the 21, knocked down by Luke Kuechly. 3rd straight year of leading the team in tackles.
You mentioned them, how important that first down was. They had done absolutely nothing so far in this half of football, and to get that first down, that needed first down, and quell some of this momentum that we kind of felt was going towards Carolina was really big. We'll see if they can manufacture a drive out of this one. They don't have many long drives on the season this year.
Asiata carries. It's hard to get across the 25-yard line. When we started, it was 11 degrees and wind chill 7 below, and they said the temperature's dropping. I think the high tomorrow is going to be 7 or 8 degrees.
We should stay. Go ice fishing.
I appreciate the fans who come out here.
Absolutely. How can you not?
They've been treated to a good game from their hometown team.
There's one thing we know about Vikings fans, if they're showing up in this stadium on a day like this, is that they love football and they love their Vikings.
Loco! Loco! Here you go, set! 20! That's hot!
On 3rd down and 3, Bridgewater open and on target for a first down inside the 40 is Jarius Wright.
Well, we've done a number of Vikings games, and we've seen Teddy Bridgewater have these exact same situations and miss on these throws, but he beats Colin Jones there in the slot, the nickelback, who's usually in there for run purposes, but he's called on to cover Jarius Wright. He just outdistanced him there. A nice throw completion by Teddy.
Without a huddle, they go to the line and give to Matt Asiata, who gets another chunk of yardage after that 35-yard pass completion. Bridgewater with a couple of touchdowns already in this game. The Vikings, remember, traded up with Seattle to make him the 32nd and final pick of the first round.
You see that stat right there, second all-time rookie quarterbacks in Vikings history, passing yards.
Completes to Jennings. And nearing field goal range for Blair Walsh. And the Vikings, with a 15-point lead, anything they can tack on will make it difficult for Carolina to try and come back.
That's not Fran Tarkenton. That's not Fran Tarkenton either. He's in Atlanta watching, I'm sure. Let's talk about him and his Vikings.
Roger! Hey, Liz, Teddy, Liz! Liz! Loco! 20! No
flag, and Bridgewater goes down. What a sack by Luke Kuechly.
That was great audio. You heard John Sullivan, the center, talking to his quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, and they worked together in concert to set protections. And that could have been offsides by Thomas Davis, but you see the delayed pressure there by Luke Kuechly. He is covering the back. When that back blocks, bam, comes in, gets a much-needed sack, gets them off on third down.
And took it out of what would have been a 51-yard field goal if they got nothing. Now the sack, so they're punting on fourth down. Jeff Locke is in. Brenton Burson back for the Panthers. It's a short kick. Drops at the 20 and rolls. And turns into an excellent punt. Inside the 10.
He's shaking his head because that almost looked like a shank when it came off his foot. But he got a very favorable bounce, kick forward. Yeah, you can't ask for it better at the 8-yard line.
Vikings trying to win their 5th game of the season. It's a little early, December 1st tomorrow. But this kind of weather brings out Santa and crew. And the Panthers were watching that New Orleans game. They've gone back up on top by, it's 27-13 now. The Saints leading the Steelers. The Buccaneers are trailing by 1 at home to Cincinnati in that NFC South. Running to Stewart on first down. Jonathan Stewart, who's been the workhorse today. And Anthony Barr remains out on that Viking defense.
Gerald Hodges is in, number 50 there for Anthony Barr.
And Sharif Floyd is out as well, so a couple of starters that are not figuring for Minnesota at the moment. Newton throws and it's batted away, trying to get to Benjamin, but Gerald Hodges, whom you just mentioned, was the guy who deflected it.
About that, you mentioned a guy comes in, it's only his second snap on defense, and he makes a really nice play here on this slant window, knocks that pass down.
Some of the work from the Viking defense this afternoon. Carolina, a couple of field goals and a fourth down touchdown pass of 32 yards from Cam Newton to Philly Brown. Third down and 3 from their own 15. That's Philly Brown in motion going to the bottom of your screen. Cam Newton's going to keep and get the first down. His 9th rush of this afternoon, and he has 49 yards on the ground.
Well, this play used to be a staple in their offense. Just a simple quarterback power. You get a lead blocker by the running back and the offensive guard pulls in front, and you got a big runner like Cam. You can use that very effectively.
Vikings with a 28-13 lead, and the third quarter winding down. Panthers in a race for the division lead and a playoff spot in the NFC South. Have the football, trailing by 15. Panthers with playoff hopes trying to rally here in the fourth quarter. On first down, Cam Newton going deep and overthrows Kelvin Benjamin. We mentioned earlier when the Panthers struggled to start the game, Cam Newton has 8 fourth quarter touchdown passes. That's the best in the NFL this season. 8 of his 12 this year coming in the final quarter. Remember, he picked up his 7th career game-winning drive in the Panthers' last win. That was against the Bears, Week 5.
That was a long time ago. He's going to need the same type of performance to get a win against another NFC North opponent here today.
He's targeted Benjamin 10 times today, completed just 3. Jonathan Stewart has a first down and still fighting up to the 39-yard line. Jonathan Stewart has had an outstanding day.
This game has been all about what they've been able to do on the ground with big number 28. Him bouncing off tackles, running through guys that probably don't want to hit this big-bodied running back. There's been not much offense for Carolina in the first half, but this guy was the exception. He's going to have some more of those type plays as this game winds down.
A season high, 85 yards rushing and averaging 7 yards a carry today. Cam Newton gets rid of it.
Now this offense really needs to get itself, some movement down the field. Cam's delivered, I think some good passes today when he's had some time to step up in the pocket. He had those couple sacks early in the game, but since then, I think he's been really accurate with the football, but just haven't been able to sustain some drives here, and they're going to have to do it here in this fourth quarter.
Hey, Al, swoop, swoop.
Hand off Tolbert, and it'll bring up third down.
Well, they continue to be patient, Chris. 13 minutes obviously left in this game, 14 minutes left in this game. They're still committed to this running game, even down 15 points.
Well, the defense of Carolina has played well here in the second half. Really, and other than that fourth down throw, the offense hasn't been able to do a whole lot.
They really haven't. They're going to have to get a spark under them here in this game if they're going to come away with a victory here on the road in Minnesota.
Ricky, double sword.
And looked like one of the Panthers moved. It's going to cost him 5 yards.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Mike Remmers, who is starting as a Panther for the first time because of those injuries, and the 6th different offensive line group in the last 6 weeks, 7th overall in the season. But as we have pointed out, they have run the ball well all afternoon. 162 rushing yards as a team, averaging over 5 yards a carry. Much of that Jonathan Stewart, but now it's third down and 13. And Cam Newton is going to go down. Eventually in the arms of Everson Griffin. Never officially down, but a sack as the whistle blows. And that's the 10th sack for Everson Griffin.
Everson Griffin is having such a good year at right defensive end. And you'll see him coming in the screen. He's working on left tackle over there, Byron Bell, and just destroys that corner. No chance for him to block, and Cam was forced to just eat that ball and take that sack.
Well, the penalty made it more difficult on 3rd and long. Just getting a punt away And that's a liner into the arms of Marcus Sherrills, who slips a tackle on the sideline, comes all the way back inside the 40 of the Panthers. That Viking defense standing its ground. Vikings have a 28-13 lead and the football. Along with producer Mike Birch, director Michael Frank, and watching on our Fox affiliates in Charlotte, Channel 46, Fox 9 here in Minneapolis, and wherever you're watching. Glad to have you with us for the NFL on Fox. From the 40 on first down, Bridgewater with a quick throw to Greg Jennings. And the ball comes out but goes out of bounds. He had a first down until he fumbled it back, and Benet Benwickery was there knocking it loose.
I tell you, Chris, Teddy Bridgewater is impressing me today with how he's delivering the football. You know, he's got a really loose delivery. I was sitting down there watching him warm up, and his arm is really loose. He spins the ball really well with his hands. So this cold weather really doesn't affect him. Those gloves obviously help with his grip. But it's been nice watching him throw the ball around today.
On 2nd and 2, Ben Tate has a first down. Ben Tate brought down at the 24-yard line. Actually, closer to the 23 after getting 9 yards.
Ben Tate, we said it was going to be a running back by committee. He finally gets a chance to run in this football game. He breaks the tackle there at Thomas Davis and gets some tough yards there coming up on safety Thomas Deku. You know, if this offense continues to possess this ball, they're going to eat up the clock and win this football game. But
Jarek McKinnon out with a bad back, the leading rusher for the team. As Tate carries, and yet the Vikings have run the ball well. Let's get a game break. Check in with Joel Klatt. Joel?
All right, Chris, we go back to Pittsburgh, and Kenny Stills, the young wide receiver, is wide open. Ike Taylor trailing back on the field after fracturing that hand in week 3, and the Saints are up 28-16. Chris, Rondé, and Jen.
Thanks, Joel. And the Panthers will play New Orleans next week at New Orleans. So even if Carolina loses this game, they'll have a chance to cut into the Saints' advantage in the division. Bridgewater is going to go down. Luke Kuechly with a sack in the last series.
You know, Luke Kuechly, again, he's assigned to the running back here, and this is not a design blitz. You see Luke Kuechly standing right here at the line of scrimmage, and watch him eye Matt Asiata as he goes inside. When he releases inside, he knows that he has a chance to rush the quarterback. It's the second time he's done it. It's the second sack that he's got. Could have been a face mask there.
Now 3rd and 15. Vikings want to at least get a shot at a field goal here. Delay handoff, Matt Asiata sets them up nicely as he gets down inside the 22-yard line. And it will be a 39-yard field goal attempt to try and extend the Viking lead.
Big points coming up here. This essentially a make here by Blair Walsh. Walsh puts this into a 3-possession game for Carolina.
$20 out of 24 this season. His first field goal try today. And he slips it through. 31-13. The Vikings leading the visiting Panthers here in the 4th quarter. To the college football playoff goes through the Pac-12 and Big Ten championship games Friday and Saturday on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's Arizona and Oregon, and then Wisconsin up against Ohio State. Wisconsin defeating the University of Minnesota yesterday. Under 9 minutes to play in a 3-possession game for the Panthers. As the Vikes kickoff, and it bounces into the end zone down by Fozzie Whitaker. Well, the special teams block punts, couple of touchdowns for the Vikings, but I think the most impressive thing today has been the performance of rookie Teddy Bridgewater.
I could not agree more, and then we move that over to the performance of the Carolina Panthers on offense. And I said earlier that they're being really patient. Well, now it's starting to me look like they're just lacking urgency. I confuse the patience with the lack of urgency. They got to score some points. It's got to start now, or they're going to be out of this football game and further hurt their chances of making it into the postseason, which is, as they all told us in pregame, the reason why they're playing today.
They have lacked urgency, at least it looked that way from the start of the game. Very lackluster performance for a team coming off a bye week that has lost 5 straight. Greg Olsen with a catch and a move up across the 32-yard line. Anthony Barr, we mentioned on that Viking defense, the rookie linebacker, now doubtful with a knee injury.
Well, this offense used this hurry-up tempo to get into the game, back into the game in the second quarter. I was wondering when they were going to implement it here, and it seems like offensive coordinator has done that just now.
Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator, catch made by Kelvin Benjamin, and the team, the Panthers have run for over 160 yards as a team, but certainly as Benjamin looks to be in pain, like his left arm, hand, wrist area as he heads to the sideline. And without the 2 block punts resulting in touchdowns, it's a tight game. Pressure on Cam Newton, he goes down. It's Griffin again.
That is a mismatch of epic proportions here, these last 2 snaps. See him again on the left side of the screen, and he's turning this corner, running that hoop, as they say, as good as anybody in the NFL, and Byron Bell is just outmatched by that energy that big number 97 is providing this defense.
That's 2 sacks today, 11 this season. A career best for Everson Griffin. Third down and 16. Cam Newton with a screen to Tolbert. That goes nowhere. The Vikings swarming, Carolina crumbling.
They're just better today, Chris, in all areas. You just mentioned the 2 block punts that resulted in touchdowns. Teddy Bridgewater, I think, has outplayed Cam Newton at quarterback. And this Vikings defense, especially here in the fourth quarter when it's mattered, has come up with plays, is getting this Carolina offense off the field. It's going to win a football game for them, it looks like to me.
Under 7 minutes now and forced a punt.
Cam just frustrated. You can see it on his face. Just that listless look, that demeanor of, man, I can't get anything going today. Like you said, it's been that way. It feels like it's been that way since the opening kickoff of these Panthers.
At one time, Carolina had a 3-2 record. A tie in Cincinnati. They've lost 5 straight. And a division up for grabs. They may slide to the bottom. Marcus Sherrills. Catch to the sideline. And an excellent return sets up the Viking offense as the Panthers are frustrated here in Minnesota. The NFL on Fox from chilly Minneapolis. 7th coldest game in the history of the Vikings as Matt Asiata carries in Carolina territory. And that's going back, of course, the Metrodome, but the old Bloomington Stadium, Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. And the new building, after next season, they're about 30% completed. We saw Ronnie the design, and it looks outstanding. A Super Bowl will be played there. And
yeah, the renderings of that place are outstanding with the glass ceiling and the big, tall entry doors. It's going to be a fantastic facility, I think.
Set.
They have their quarterback of the future.
Ready. Good hut.
As Matt Asiata carries. This stadium will hold 65,000 people. August of 2016, which it'll open, and built on the site of the Metrodome, and it's 1.7 million square feet, almost twice the size of what the old dome was. And Super Bowl 52 in 2018 will be there, and the men's Final Four, college hoops 2019, and the Vikings, their new home. Of course, first-year head coach Mike Zimmer has really made a difference with this team, and working, a defensive coach working with his rookie quarterback in Noah Turner. On third down and 3, Matt Asiata will not get the first down, stopped at the 40.
But what you got to love about Mike Zimmer as a head coach is that, a lot of coaches give, delegation to their assistants. This guy is so hands-on. Every player that you talk to about him lauds about how he cares about his team and how he cares about the fundamentals of his guys, and he does it by himself. And that's, I think, a very good thing for a head coach to do.
And to chew up the clock on fourth down, why risk a kick? They need 3.
I'm just going to try to get him to jump off sides. You heard him say freeze there.
Come on, man. You got to be smarter than that.
Teddy Bridgewater putting on a show. Here comes a flag. Maybe they will just punt it out of there.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
He was trying to call a timeout, I think, before. He's like, want me to call a timeout?
I heard Bridgewater from the field say, come on, man. And it doesn't really matter in this situation as far as the punter goes, trying to drop it in. Jeff Locke will have that chance. Four and a half minutes to play here, and a 3-possession advantage for the Vikings. The pressure on, he's going to line one away from Person. And that's been a problem all day as that rolls into the end zone. Punt returns for Carolina, getting nothing out of it, but this one will come back to the 20-yard line. Carolina will take over on offense here in Minneapolis. Temperature dropping, but the Vikings are warming up to each other in a 31-13 lead. Some receivers of Jennings and Johnson over there. Cam Newton underneath to Greg Olsen. And when I asked Cam Newton about the coldest weather he ever played in, he just shook his head and said, cold is cold. But this, temperature-wise, is his coldest game he's ever played in as a pro. We talk about the emergence of Teddy Bridgewater over on the Vikings side. Where is Cam Newton? It's been a rough year for him.
It really has been a tough season. Interception-wise, getting the offense going-wise. The lack of a running game hasn't helped.
Jericho Cotchery with the catch.
Earlier in the year, we saw some things with him staying in the pocket, delivering the ball that were really encouraging, Chris. But really, as of late, because of the issues up front, I'm presuming, because of trying to find some rhythm in this offense, he's really struggled. So when you talk about the progression on the other side, there's definitely looks like there's somewhat of a regression in Carolina.
Jonathan Stewart inside the 40 run is a flag down back in the area of Cam Newton.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face, number 77, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's another penalty on Byron Bell, and Everson Griffin has worked him over all day.
He's having a tough day. You see the hands to the face, ripping the helmet off, man. That's the definition of hands to the face there. Everson Griffin has been giving him fits here, especially in the fourth quarter. It's just been tough for that Carolina offensive line trying to contain this pass rush here of late.
And tough for Cam Newton after leading the team to the division title in playoffs last year. That first overall pick in 2011. This is 59th start. 3 games below 500 across the board as he completes the throw to Benjamin. And the NFC South standings, even with a loss today, the Saints are winning, but Carolina will play New Orleans next week. It'll just change having control in their own hands, but they still could get in with some help. Remember, Atlanta's at home against the Cardinals later today on Fox. Pass Pass is complete to Stewart, who's had a big day. He gets a first down inside the 45. During this 5-game losing streak for the Panthers, Cam has thrown 10 interceptions.
7 straight games he's had an interception. He had 2 last week, 3 the week before that. It's been a struggle when they've had to rely on him throwing the football. And you ask the guys around, and they still like the way Cam plays, the way he prepares. And we talk interceptions, and he serves one up to Josh Robinson there.
He floated that one, and it's his first turnover of the day. And a Viking takeaway.
Well, that was the first time today that we've seen Cam have to force the ball down the field. This ball is just a tad underthrown. Josh Robinson, they're playing, safety over the help coverage, so he knew he had somebody there to protect him. He goes up and makes a nice interception on that underthrown ball.
That's 8 straight with a pick. The Panthers at New Orleans, but then they'll be home with the Bucks and the Browns. Cleveland having a good year, and then they finish at Atlanta.
So even though they haven't shown their best stuff today, and I fully expect Ron Rivera to let his team know how disappointed he is in them when they get into this locker room after this game. But they still have a chance, Chris. They can still find a way to get in there.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. It's been all Vikings from the start. Polar temperatures, but a hot performance for Minnesota. Happy times here in Minneapolis. The Viking defense outstanding. The special teams as well. Ben Tate carries. And the difference early. Brant Nortman punting. Adam Thielen special team start. Not only does he block it, but he takes it into the end zone for a touchdown. You saw Jasper Brinkley right there with him. He blocked the next one. And Everson Griffin took it in for a touchdown. Griffin also with 2 sacks today. That set the tone.
Well, early in this game, we said that it didn't feel like the Carolina Panthers were out here trying to play their way into the playoffs, but you got to give some credit to Minnesota with the way that they played in all aspects of this football game.
And without their leading rusher, Jerick McKinnon, the rookie who has stepped in for Adrian Peterson, out with a bad back as Ben Tate carries. Peterson will have an appeal to be heard by former NFL executive Harold Henderson on Tuesday. This is the 11th game that he's missed. Remember, he pleaded no contest back in early November to a misdemeanor charge of reckless assault, ending up with a fine, probation, and community service. And based on what the independent ruling was with Ray Rice, maybe there is hope that Adrian Peterson can get back into the game this year. But the Vikings on their way to their 5th win behind a combination of running backs.
And some good play by that young man right there, Teddy Bridgewater.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
He didn't have to do much today, but he had 2 crucial touchdown passes early in this football game. Only 15 of 21 on the day. They didn't ask him to do much, but I was really impressed with the way he handled himself.
Our thanks to Tom West, also Bob Hagan in the Vikings publicity department, Charlie Dayton over on the Carolina side. The Vikings had 5 straight games that were decided by 8 points or less. They were 2-3 in those coming into this game. But a lopsided home advantage at 31-13 and ready to wrap up their 5th victory of the year. And for the 22-year-old rookie from Louisville, born in Miami, 2 touchdown tosses. Bridgewater 15 of 21, 138 yards, did not turn the football over. And he also ran enough. He ran 2 different times, but moved around enough in the pocket. The team says it's a strength for his play, considering this offensive line.
It really is. And you have a guy that can deliver the ball on a run like Teddy can, then use him just like that. And I thought Norv Turner called a great game today, getting him out of the pocket, really not putting too much stress on him, throwing the ball down the field. It was effective today against Carolina.
And the Panthers will run it out. Carolina will lose its 6th straight game. The record will fall to 3-8-1. And And the Vikings, now 5-7, will host the Jets, then play on the road at Detroit and Miami before closing things out at home against their NFC North opponent, the Chicago Bears. Final score, Vikings win it 31-13 over the Panthers here in Minneapolis. More in a moment here on the NFL on Fox.